Hi guys, today we are going to make a wedding card and I am responding to the invite that was received and it had eucalyptus leaves on it. So I dug into my stash and I find two different sets that had eucalyptus leaves. One of them from a previous Simple Cards and Papercraft magazine, which came with this Lisa Horton set, and then this one from a very old die cutting essential magazine. I think it was number 98. I think it was 98. So that one had a larger eucalyptus leaf. And the issue of this magazine also came with some gorgeous digital papers, and those are the ones that I will be using alongside that die as well today. Starting off with an 8 by 8 inch card base, I'm going to score the front in half, so dine at 4 inches. Dine in the middle just of the front flap. This way I created that front funnel to be folding back, just like so. The gold cardstock I'm using measures 7 3/4 of an inch of square, 7.5 for the green printed paper, and 7.25 of an inch square for the eucalyptus pattern. For the front flap, the gold measures 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. Then 3.5 by 7.5 for the green printed one, and 3.25 by 7.25 for this eucalyptus pattern, and I'm repeating exactly the same onto the middle panel there as well. So this is all the panels glued down. I did use my collal glue, so this is nice and sturdy now. It is huge and it is already so beautiful. I just love these colors on this. So for my toppers, I'm going to use ovals, and this is the pierced and scalloped ovals diced by Chloe's Creative Cards. You've seen me use it plenty of times before. The largest one is the second largest from the set from white card. The next one down I die cut from gold mirror card. Then white card again, gold mirror card, that green printed one which I edged with glitter. And it is the Sparkling Sugar Glitter by Wow. And then the next one down was that lovely pattern paper, which at the same size I've die cut from vellum as well. And here I am gluing them into two separate sets. And I am adding the vellum in here too, but I will only be adding the glue onto the top bit, which I know that will be covered up by my embellishments, and then I will come back and add more glue to attach the vellum to that pattern paper when I know where the embellishments will be covering that glue up. And the reason I'm doing this is just to tone that pattern down a bit, so my embellishments are not too overwhelming then. This piece will be popped up on foam pads. I set it aside just for a minute until I glue my top onto the card base, because I only want to add glue to one half of that topper. I'm using a pencil to draw a line as a guide to see where I need to fill it with glue, and then I am popping it back onto my card, and then I can add the rest of those ovals. I also have smaller ovals cut out again from white, gold, and that same green card, and these will be going onto the inside panel. And I will also add an additional white panel to that later when I will be printing out the names and the date of the wedding. So in here I'm covering the back of this panel with glue, lining it up behind the front oval panels, then folding the card back onto itself. This way I know that the ovals are lined up, so when I add this bit where I will be adding my name, or you can write a message in there, I will be adding the names at the wedding date onto that. So when the card is closed up, no one will see that. It will be revealed once you open up the card. It's such a beautiful, elegant design. My eucalyptus leaves were cut out of aquamarine pearlescent card. And I'm going to add some gorgeous texture to this. So I'm dabbing it into my ink pad, but just very lightly. I'm not trying to cover the entire surface with the ink, just lightly. And this was a clear sticky embossing ink pad by Wow Embossing Powder. And this is the Castleton lovely metallic green from the Heritage Quad by Seth Apter. This is going to give me the perfect color for my eucalyptus leaf. I brought in just a dry paintbrush and I'm just dabbing it onto those leaves. I'm not brushing away any of that powder. I'm just dabbing it onto it, create some texture and to allow the aquamarine color to show through to once I've heat set this. Just look at that texture. I really surprised myself with this one. I really didn't think it will turn out this beautiful, but I am in love with this. So I have a separate die cut in here of that same aquamarine card. I'm going to add some glue to those little leaves in there, and then I'm going to glue my embossed piece on top of that, but offsetting slightly, so some of that aquamarine underneath will show off to the left side there. And when you die cut these leaves, there's like an embossed detail inside them, but once you add the embossing powder, that kind of disappears anyway. So the best thing about this is that you can just flip it to the other side and create like a mirror image if you are going to emboss on the underside. Those are the smaller eucalyptus leaves, which I ended up not using today on my card, so they're just sitting on my table still there. And here is a bunch of these larger eucalyptus leaves, which I have prepared using exactly the same technique as I just showed you, and I done it on both sides. So some of them are arching to the right, some of them arching to the left. And then here I'm just trying to decide which way to add these. And then here I was in two minds whether I want to use flowers, but then of course I decided to want to use flowers. And now this is funny, I picked out a Christmas rose stamp and die by Chloe's Creative Cards, and these are gorgeous, elegant stamps. To me, they don't scream Christmas at all. So I decided to use this, but I'm only using the dies today, the medium and the small ones, and then the stamen and those swirly bits in there. So that's all I'm going to use to create my flowers. I'm going to make them real nice and simple because I want the eucalyptus leaves to be the star of the show on this one. So I'm just going to add some white flowers. I've die cut 3 times from pearlescent white card. On one of them, I'm pinching down the middle of each petal, and I'm just going to leave the other 2 flat. I'm going to use my hot glue to layer these up on top of each other, offsetting slightly to create some lovely dimension. Then I'm adding the stamen, which I've die cut from gold mirror card, and that finishes the flower, and they are so elegant and so beautiful. Non-Christmassy. Of course you can make them into Christmassy ones, but today I wanted to make them perfect for the wedding. I printed out on your wedding day, cut it into a small strip, and I added a slightly larger gold frame around it, or behind it even. It's a slightly larger gold layer. And you'll just see me use my hot glue to add all these embellishments to my card. I am allowing those eucalyptus leaves just to be draping down on either side, on the left and the right. And then I will be adding my flowers, not quite centered on the top. I want it to go a little bit off to the right. I think it just adds an elegance to it. I don't know. Is it just me, guys? Do let me know. So I am going to add plenty of these leaves, just filling out gaps here and there. And I am also cutting some of the eucalyptus leaves down into shorter ones. So I'm using all the different parts of it here and there, just to create a little bit of a variety in my composition in here. When I started to make this card, I was not sure at all what way it will turn out, and now it is one of my favorites. It is just so gorgeous. I definitely will be making more leaves using this technique with this embossing powder, or some other embossing powders too. But I do think that this turned out totally beautiful, just really elegant. I will show you some close-ups at the end as always, so you can then let me know in the comment section below what do you think of this card. I would love to read your comments. I'm going to pop my sentiment up on foam pads, and I will also use some liquid glue to reinforce it. I didn't want to stick onto those leaves, so I did have to use a little bit of an extra pressure, extra bit of a glue there, but eventually it did stick, and it's perfect. It just says on your wedding day. But of course you can add your details of the name and the date of the wedding onto the front too. I decided just to go with a simple sentiment here, and I am using my hot glue to add some pearls in the middle of each of those flowers. And then I'm going to bring in some gold gems, and I'm just going to add 3 to the top right and then 3 to the bottom left corner. And then I stopped recording. I thought I was finished, and then when I came back to add those swirly bits, I forgot to hit record. So it's just those swirly bits that I showed you in the die, these ones in here from gold cardstock, and I just added them here and there in my composition. I think it just adds some lovely detail into it. It's really elegant again. This stamp and die set is one of those that I bought by mistake. I had a different one of mine until it arrived, and I said, oh no. But you know what? It was my happiest mistake because I am truly in love with that stamp and die set. It is just going to be featured on my cards all the time. Not only at Christmas, but Christmas too, obviously. But here is the card, and you could see the matching box that I took it out of. How beautiful is this? Oh my goodness, guys, I can't even. Those eucalyptus leaves are just magical, honestly, just magical. That's the word for it. I really hope you enjoyed me making this really special wedding card. And if you did, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. Hit the notification bell to make sure you will not miss out on any future uploads. I would love to read your comments and your thoughts on this, so do leave me them in the comment section below. I will be back very soon with another tutorial. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and until then, bye!